Um, Let me just say good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here today, of course, with Houston Police Chief Troy Fenner and ATF Special Agent in Charge Fred Malinowski. And I'm also certainly wanted to acknowledge Lieutenant Kathy Richards and Commander Tinsley Gwen Shaver, as well as the Violent Offender Squad. Let me just start off. For the past several months, local law enforcement agencies have worked together to solve a string of robberies targeting people near high-end stores and affluent areas in parts of Southwest Houston, Uptown, near the Galleria, Highland Village. You may recall that in May, Chief Fenner announced the arrest of several suspects responsible for aggressive robberies in affluent areas of the city. This is a follow-up to that. And I just want to say from the very beginning, extend my thanks to the chief, to ATF, to Fred Malinowski, to all of the individuals involved, the Violent Offender Squad. They have done a yeoman's job, and I think what you will hear today will be the results of their hard work. Those placed under arrest targeted innocent people because they were driving luxury vehicles and wearing expensive jewelry. Nearly all of the suspects have ties to violent gangs, and they have criminal histories. Houston Police, with the assistance of ATF, other agencies, and the use of technology, have worked nonstop, and literally nonstop, to solve these very dangerous and brazen armed robberies. These arrests have led to the resolution of other violent crimes as well, and I think what you will hear have also led to a significant reduction in crimes in all of those areas. Many major cities across the country are dealing with a wave of crime. We all know that. The city of Houston is no exception. We are not immune, and that's why I've instructed Chief Fenner to do what is necessary within his department and to let me know what resources the department needs and the officers need in order to crack down on these violent offenders and keep our city safe. I am pleased with the number of arrests that have been made, as you will shortly hear, and the number of people who are apprehended and off the streets. We will continue to partner with our law enforcement agencies and put forth the necessary resources and manpower to prevent and/or apprehend those persons committing crimes. And once they are arrested, judges must be mindful of their criminal histories and not make it easy for them to return to the streets to become repeat offenders. Having said that, let me now bring up Chief Fenner.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I want to say, first of all, thanks to our great citizens and our media. Thank you for being patient. May the 14th, I stood and the mayor stood before you, and I think Fred and our team was there. We made 10 arrests. To this date, there have been 24 arrests, federal charges and state charges. And Commander Gwen Shaver will speak in detail to that here shortly, but I also want to thank her. I don't get a chance to stand before you much and acknowledge a person that's been here 41 years and still charging hard from us, still leading from the front. But I also want to thank Special Agent in Charge ATF, Fred Malinowski, the U.S. Attorney, Jennifer Lowry, our District Attorney, Kim Ogg, our Commander from Homicide, Kevin Deese, our Major Offenders, Commander Ron Borza, also our Gang Division Commander, Mike Faulhaber, also Midwest Commander Reed. And as far as our troops, Major Robbery Division, Major Offenders, our crime and crime reduction units, and also our Gang Division, and our ATF Gun Strike Task Force team. We have done great work, and I want people to know, and she'll go into a little bit of detail, but we do think these dangerous, very dangerous crews are responsible for the League City homicide, also our Grottos incident where a detective and another gentleman was murdered. These are very violent people. As she will speak to our commander, a few of them are still outstanding. There's still investigations going on. But just one thing before I pass it over to our ATF SAC. Sometimes we have to withhold information when we have investigations going on. And again, I want to thank you for being patient on that. I'll never stand before you and say, withhold information for no reason at all. But I do not want to jeopardize the case, especially when we're dealing with some very dangerous individuals. So, Fred.
Thank you, Chief. Mayor, first of all, I want to thank you and Chief Finner and let you know that the work that your investigators do on the ATF Crime Gun Strike Force is nothing short of remarkable. They're a great partner. I just want to give you a little bit about the Crime Gun Strike Force. There's about 65 persons assigned to the strike force, and that is 8 special agents, it's investigators, it's police officers, dedicated canine to find shell casings, it's crime analysts. We're very fortunate to have that team and have that team that works together every single day on violent crimes in the city. But when we have an increase, like we saw in the Galleria with these armed robberies, to have the violent offender squad assigned and embedded with ATF, it just makes it seamless for us to work these violations. So there's no friction on whether it's going to be a state prosecution or a federal prosecution. There's actually ADAs from Harris County DA's office and Assistant United States Attorneys assigned to our strike force. So the attorneys are talking, the investigators are talking, the crime analysts are talking, and it's just an incredible opportunity that we have in the Houston metro area to knock down some of these violent gun crimes. I will tell you, the strike force only focuses on 3 things. One is armed robberies. The second is multiple shootings linked by our NIBIN's ballistic program, which you've all heard lots about. And the third is firearms trafficking. Firearms trafficking mean how do these criminals get these guns? So that's everything from breaking into gun stores to breaking into vehicles. And in the city of Houston, we have a significant problem with guns being stolen out of vehicles. Last numbers I got, about 3,800 a year are being stolen out of vehicles, and those are going directly to the criminal element. So we all talk about Second Amendment rights, and I'm a big believer in Second Amendment rights, but we also have responsibilities. And leaving a gun unattended in a vehicle when you're not in it is not being responsible, and we need people to lock those guns up because that is what's funneling, one of the big areas that's funneling guns to our criminal element. With that being said, I know the commander here is going to give specifics, but I just wanted to, again, thanks the mayor, thank the chief. Houston Police Department's been an incredible partner to us, and we will continue our dedication. As long as there's violent gun crime in the city of Houston, we're going to be there to work with your police department. Thank you.
I know we're social distancing, but I want y'all to stand in with your chance. Got it. Come on, stand in too. Yep. Got it. All right. Come on in. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm Tinsley Gwinshaver, Commander of the Robbery Division. And I want to thank Mayor Turner, Chief Finner, Special Agent in charge.
He stepped out.
He went somewhere. Thank you. Fred Malinowski, incredible partnership. Also Lieutenant Kathy Richards of our Violent Offender Squad and our Gun Crime Strike Force. And Russell Gray, he's been instrumental in investigating these particular crimes, and his crew as well. And also Ernest. There's so many people to acknowledge that I can't even be represented here today because what started in May when we spoke was a very preliminary investigation. We did have 10 charges, but it was in its infancy. And like the chief spoke to, we were really hesitant to share a lot of information that would be compromise not only the investigation itself, but create a more unsafe environment for our citizens. So when we come today, we do have the partnership of the ATF. We have homicide, major offenders, our crime suppression units across the city. They were all instrumental in following the leads, submitting them for analysis, and orchestrating the tactical responses to get these suspects in custody. Of these suspects, we have 24 suspects have been identified working 2 different crews, a day shift crew and a night shift crew. Of these 24, 14 defendants remain in jail on state charges. 4 defendants remain in jail on federal charges. 2 have been charged and have eluded capture. And Lieutenant Kathy Richards will speak about these boards here with all the pictures we have in a few minutes and identify those for you. 5 suspects have been charged with capital murder. We have charged 36 state charges on aggravated related charges from aggravated robbery to conspiracy. We have 7 federal charges. We have 4 currently out on state bonds. And 7 of the defendants were out on state bonds or out on bond when they committed these crimes. We still have evidence that's being processed, and as this evidence is analyzed and the reports are given to Lieutenant Richards and major offenders, our detectives will be going through them with our ATF partners, and I anticipate more charges to be filed, other suspects to be linked, all the way back through early 2020. So this is not by any means over, but we're at a place where I feel comfortable, where the chief felt comfortable to share more information with our media, because that helps make our community safer. And I would like to have Kathy Richards, Lieutenant, come to the boards and speak to the pictures and some of the suspects, identify those with Sergeant Russell Gray if he has any additional information for that, and then we'll do a closing and open to questions.
Yes, so this is some of the defendants that we have
Do
listed.
you need the mic? We can probably angle it to you. Yeah.
So these are some of the defendants that we have charged.
Can you move that?
You're welcome. Okay, take 2. Okay. So these are some of the defendants that we have charged in the Galleria-related cases. The top 2 on the chart here are Jeremy Haynes and John Trell Miles. Jeremy Haynes is wanted for capital murder at this time, and John Trell Miles was charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery. He did receive a bond, and he decided not to show back up for court. So he has a bond revocation. So he is wanted as well. We are asking for the public's assistance in helping us find and locate these individuals. And if they do have information on where they are, they can call Crime Stoppers with that information, or our robbery division. It's important that they get captured and brought in. As we've already talked about, we have several murders involved with these cases, and these defendants are very violent. Just some of the other defendants on this page, all these individuals have been charged with aggravated robbery in some way or fashion involving the Galleria area cases. And then on this board, we have some of the watches that the suspects were shopping for whenever they targeted individuals in that area and followed them home. Below, on the bottom right, you'll see it's a bag full of guns. Just like the SAC Fred Malinowski was talking about, is these suspects do not acquire these guns legally. They robbed a Cash America pawn shop and stole about 24 guns out of that pawn shop. And when they were arrested, we recovered all of the guns from them. So they're not acquiring these guns legally, but stealing them, using whatever they need to do. Any questions on that?
We have linked some of these suspects in this crew with the League City murder. If you remember that one, thank you. If you remember that one, the League City murder had to do with the yacht boat owner of the company. We're working in collaboration with League City at this time, and we do not have charges on them, but they are linked with this crew. So evidence places them there, but we're still working with the DA's office to get charges on them.
So the Houston murder too.
And the Houston murder as well. So we can open to questions now, Chief?
Yep. Right.
Do you have a sort of ballpark about just like how much contraband or money that, or watch
I'll let you speak to it.
value of all this stuff is gold?
Come right here, Sergeant.
So basically, there's no set amount, but I would say collectively, we're well over into the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stolen merchandise. These guys, get this off if y'all don't mind. These guys, they do target the expensive watches and jewelry. However, at any given time, whatever you have in your possession, they'll also take. And although they target the individuals leaving these places, they tend to follow them home and also do home invasions, which sometimes nets more jewelry or more valuables. So
Sort of like a quite classic juggling scheme.
slightly different from jugging, but there are some similarities.
And if you look at the watches, they range in value from $8,000 to over $100,000 for one watch. So the value of these things just goes exponentially.
Correct.
Anybody else? All right. Thank y'all. Very good.
Thanks.
Lieutenant, Sarge, thank you. Top notch. All right.
All right, now, we're not done yet.
Appreciate it. No, we got it. Thank y'all. Yes. All right. Chief Garcia's gonna do Spanish. We're gonna transition and let us do Spanish.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Ready? Y'all ready? Okay, buenos días. Soy Ernesto García, el asistente jefe de la policía de Houston. Y hoy quiero hablar de unos robos que han cometido unos sospechosos dentro de la ciudad de Houston. Y queremos dar las gracias primero al público que ha ayudado a nosotros para esta investigación y también de las diferentes divisiones de la policía, la división de robo, otras divisiones de la policía y otras divisiones y organizaciones de federales. Entonces, muchas gracias por esas personas y esos grupos. Hemos investigado robos que han sucedido en la área de Galleria desde enero de este año. Los sospechosos buscan a víctimas que manejan carros de lujo y que traen joyas de alto valor, particular relojes de lujo en la área de Sharpstown y en el Galleria y otras partes de la ciudad. Los sospechosos siguen a las víctimas a sus casas y cualquier lugar donde esas personas van cometen el robo. En esos casos donde las víctimas llegan a las casas, los sospechosos entran a la fuerza a los abogados para robar más cosas de valor como joyas. Los sospechosos en estos casos usan más de un carro y trabajan en más de dos grupos. Esos dos grupos, uno trabaja en el día y otro trabaja en la noche. Los grupos se conocen y trabajan como dije, juntos en el día y en la noche. En cada caso, los sospechosos roban dinero en efectivo, joyas y relojes de lujo. Durante esta investigación hemos identificado, arrestado y enviar cargos contra varios sospechosos en estos casos. Los cargos incluyen asesinato capital, participar en actividad criminal organizada y comparación criminal para cometer robo. También cargo de federales con posesión de armas. Esta investigación está todavía muy activa y continuamos procesando evidencia. Estamos confiados que vamos a continuar encontrando casos previos hasta después de 18 meses. Queremos recordar a todos que tienen cosas de valor que están alerta. Las mismas recomendaciones que damos a las personas que hacen negocios de bancos o manejan mucho dinero en efectivo, está alerta. Si cree que usted le están siguiendo, vayan a lugar un seguro, sea en una estación de policía, o una estación de bomberos o un lugar público y habla a la policía. Cualquier persona que tenga información para estos casos, por favor llame a la división de robo a 713-308-0700 o Crime Stoppers 713-222-TIPS. Si ustedes pueden mirar aquí, en las fotos aquí, en la izquierda aquí, estos dos sospechosos arriba, estamos buscándolos. Tienen cargos ya. Y si miras esta aquí a la derecha, es una de las cosas que robaron. Como dije, están buscando relojes de lujos, dinero, cosas así, y puedes mirar las cosas que han robado. Si miras las personas abajo de los dos que están arriba, estos dos ya tienen cargos y están en la cárcel ahorita. Estamos pidiendo al público para que nos ayude a hallar esos dos que están arriba, que ahorita la policía los están buscando.